Welcome to Mending Threads. Good to see you again this week. This is your whole body wellness, safe place to discuss anything. This is a transformation series, mind, body, and spirit. And we will discuss topics today that will help lead to solutions, decision making, and life changing uh, opportunities. So I have with us today Dr. Oswald, I call him Doc Walker. Oswald Walker, who's a leader in the Houston, Texas community. He's active with the Shape Community Center, one of our partners. He's with the Shrine of the Black Madonna. He's a pastor there, associate pastor, and he's also an educator. So when you listen and we talk about values and anger as our topic today, keep in mind of how this can affect you and what you can do to heal your family and your community. I'm going to welcome now Doc Walker, Oswald Walker.
How you doing,
Hello.
Dr. Lewis?
How are you? How are you?
I'm
Okay,
fine. I'm fine. Good to see you.
good. And I know we've been working hard this week, but I'm so excited about what we're doing. And I know people think this topic, anger and value, money, and that kind of thing, are some kind of way different. But I do want to say, and I want everybody to just think about their last visit to the TV station, to look at the news and find escalating violence in situations that express anger. To look at the number of sales, the increase is over 6,000 and some guns that they have just picked up, that they have that police officers have been able to retrieve. So we have an escalation of instruments of violence as well. Road rage has increased. Every day you see somebody hit by somebody who became upset on the highway. And
Dr.
so,
Lewis, you sound like
yes.
you sound like you heard my sermon this past Sunday. I was
Oh
preaching
no.
literally about everything you just said.
Well, I want to hear it today. I want to hear it because listen, to save the people, to save our children, to save, I even have a grandson that's in the correctional system.
Hmm.
And it is because he did not know how to deal with violence. He did not know how. He didn't know how to, he didn't have the skills to recognize it. So, not to give justification for it,
Right.
but to look at that if we are prepared, if we respond, if we know how to respond when situations come to us, we may react differently. When we learn how to handle fear and anger. So, this is why you're the person. Now, here we, audience, listen at this. We have visiting with us today a person who's an educator, think of it, an author of books on the topic, that knows history, and that's really entrenched in religion and beliefs. So do we not have one of the key people? We have been blessed at the Women's Resource Center to have 2 or 3 people that are this well put together in their thoughts and beliefs and actions. So let's take advantage of it today. If you have any questions, I have my cell phone here. You just text in your questions to 281-381-2276. 281-381-2276. And from now on, you'll be getting an opportunity through Facebook. Okay, because we have now created that opportunity for you. We will just have to post ahead of time. Okay, so Dr. Walker, please tell us about your sermon as to how it related to this and how you addressed this situation.
So the title or the topic of my sermon was "Hold My Mule." You know, the famous Shirley Caesar song,
Yes.
and it was about the fact that I love the song, and then just one day it just hit me that there's a message in this song that needs to be preached, and the message is really, who are you going to be? You know, because the song has some main characters. It has those deacons that are, self righteous, and trying to put shouting John in his place, trying to tell him to stop singing and praising the Lord so much. Um, trying to hide his light under the bushel basket. And then, of course, shouting John, a brother who's just unashamed about praising the Lord. Even in the midst of trials and tribulations, he's able to be grateful, to testify, and to praise. And then I said there's a third character in this sermon. It's the mule. The mule who only does what master tells the mule to do. And that kind of represents how we can be sometimes in our lives. We're afraid to take risks, afraid to step out, afraid to learn new information and try new things. So the question really is, who are we going to be? And then I challenge my church, Trying to Black Madonna. We have to ask ourselves, not just as individuals, but as a congregation,
Mm-hmm.
who are we going to be? Are we going to be this self-righteous folk who are always erecting barriers and pushing people away? Or are we going to open ourselves, to and accept people as they are and help them go to where God wants them to be? Are we going to be the mule that only does what we've always done? Or are we going to be shouting John, even as we are doing the work to change the conditions that our people find themselves in? Still able to thank God for the blessings that we do have. But in the midst of the sermon, one of the examples I came upon was the fact that anger for a lot of people. Um, well, I told this story that I met a few years ago. I met with a couple of people who were representing this one progressive organization in the city of Houston. Um, we were trying to feel each other out to see if we'd be a good mix to work together on some different projects. And while I'm talking to these two women, these two white women, actually, quote unquote, liberal progressive white women, I could see these concerned looks on their face. And then one of them finally says, "You know what? We need to see more anger from you. You just don't seem angry enough to be a good fit with what we're trying to do." And after that, I just kind of had to laugh in their face and tell them to get on with themselves, because uh, what they don't know is that Black people, we always walk around angry.
Yes.
And we are so consumed with the anger at how the world has mistreated us and our people and our ancestors, that we die of anger all the time. Anger, that bottled up anger, causes stress related illnesses of all kinds, stroke,
Right.
hypertension, on and on and on. And they didn't understand that. They
Well,
need to
what
see
what it
someone that's
is
angry. But what they don't know is Black folk are always angry.
always angry,
They're
and that what it
always angry. I'm
and
I'm getting
maybe
angry thinking about these white folk thinking that they knew more about the Black struggle than Black people know about the Black struggle. Lord have
right.
mercy.
Well, one of the things is that as you're speaking about it, it is that when they're saying it, they're letting you know that they do not know. They're letting
Right.
you know that they're interpreting it as their lives. They have not infused themselves in another culture to not only help the people. You can't help a person unless you can interpret it from their perspective, and you would have to put yourself in their shoes or live some of what they have lived. You can't only read about it. Reading about it is a beginning, just to put it in your mind, but some kind of way you have to challenge yourself with something. You have to engage in it to know. But truly, they already research shows that the most of the illnesses, the diabetes and the whatever, they want to say it's all genetic or it's all,
Mhm.
but eating habits come from frustration. When I get upset, do you know what I want? I want butternut. I want butter pecan ice cream to soothe my spirit, and
Mhm.
it's got to be crunchy. I
Mhm.
want something like Fritos to crunch on. So therefore, if anybody's going to help me, they'd have to come up with some foods to deal with my cultural habits and
Yeah.
not tell me to not just eat it. They have to introduce me to some other things that Dr. Baxter Montgomery did. He said, "Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get more lettuce, and I want you to wrap some toasted beets and get them real hard, and then you'll be able to crunch on them and put seasoning." And they were really good, I'm telling
Hmm.
you. Okay, then they were good. And matter of fact, I'm getting some more today. So
Send,
see,
send,
don't
send
tell
some
me
my
what
way.
I can. Huh?
Send some my way.
That's I will send some your way. You might have it arrived over there at the Madonna, and you want to know where this came from. That's where it's gonna come from.
But you're so right. You're so right, Dr. Lewis. Because these two individuals that I met with, I realized that it would be a waste of energy for me to explain this to them, um, because high blood pressure, anxiety disorders, depression, strokes, all of these, so much of that is fueled by all of this anger that we repress and that we hold on to. And like you mentioned, like a grandson just didn't know how to cope or deal with it. And we haven't been taught how to deal with that. I mean, we have learned how to deal with it, but oftentimes not in healthy ways. Like you said, maybe we eat the wrong things, or we get involved, or we um, take on other negative,
Violence, fighting,
other negative
mhm,
habits,
alcohol,
self-defeating,
alcohol.
all of that, all of that. Yeah.
One of my veterans told me, well, okay, Dr. Lewis, you do not want to see me when I'm not smoking my marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I'm not smoking my marijuana, I'm a whole different person and I can't control it.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of the anger is chemical, but chemical is exacerbated by the things that our awareness and our values, like how you get gratified. If you don't have anybody to nurture you or somebody to understand you, your chemistry in your body begins to change when you feel rejected, when you feel cornered. My cat is a whole different cat. I'm just talking about animal behavior. When I ignore my cat
Mm-hmm.
will turn his back on me, but he will start angry and I'll walk by and he'll grab
Mm-hmm.
me. He's saying, look at me, pay
Yeah.
attention to me. So some of the behavior is that I expect. Some of the anger is from my expectation. Some of the anger is from my denial. you know I want to get your idea on the anger and stuff, the anger, before we bring on anyone else. We have somebody we're going to bring on. What do you think about the Roe versus Wade thing? I talked to a parent and they had no idea what it was about. So
No
they
idea. No idea what Roe versus Wade was about.
no, they have no idea all of the components. So one of the things that I know is that anger and frustration has a lot to do. They know something, but you can't express it
Okay.
because they don't have enough knowledge about who they are, about the things that have gone on and that's going on now. That is infusing frustration. You see, they know something, but I said, well, you don't really know that this abortion thing. I said, do you know it's about more than abortion? That if they strike that down, it's going to affect something else? No, I don't know what you're talking about. And so I know we got to start doing something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an all-out attack. And this is, just my opinion, but an all-out attack on um, uh, women's agency. You know, a woman's ability to have sovereignty over her own body, her own life, and her own decisions. Um, it's about striking down um, democratically uh, um, arrived upon legal decisions. The ability, for some small group of ideologues to be able to set the agenda for whatever the heck it is that they want, with
Mm-hmm.
their stance on abortion being one of them. And what I find really interesting about, you know, quote unquote conservatives or evangelical stance on, anti-abortion stances, when you look at the statistics, they have just as many abortions as people who um, are on the other side of their argument. They have just as many. They literally have just as many abortions. They just justify it for themselves, but want to demonize it and make it illegal for you. And so there's all that going on, all at the same time, and it's horrible. But that's just one of those issues. Like I was sharing not only in the sermon, but in just various conversations and we've talked about it before here. I have to take news breaks. Like I can't just sit and watch the
Yes.
news
Mm-hmm.
nonstop, because I can feel a tightening in my chest. I can feel myself getting angry or overwhelmed. And so for my own well-being, I have to take breaks, um, because anger, anxiety, all that stuff can take over you, can be overwhelming. And it's interesting that we're having this conversation now because on the Christian calendar, this is the season of Pentecost. We just came out of
Yes.
Lenten Easter season, where the focus is on the individual, your individual walk with your God. You know,
Hmm.
getting your own individual spiritual house in order, your spiritual spring cleaning. The season of Pentecost is different. It's about the power of the group, the power of community. It's about
Right.
what the Western world calls synergy. Like, you have more power. Like, the sum of its parts. Uh, the power of a group is greater than the sum of its parts, so to speak. That
Yes.
there's more power when we come
Hmm.
together, when we learn how to work together, forgive each other, work with each other. And that was really my message to those two self-righteous folk that I was having a meeting with. They thought that the power, that the fuel that drives a movement is anger. I contend it's not that. It's
No,
love. It's the spirit that
it's
gives life.
love.
When you're able
Hmm.
to tap into that, that's the thing. That's the fuel that can give you the courage to stand up against, whatever madness. And I may be going off the rails. I'm sorry. I don't even know if I'm answering your
No,
question.
you're talking right, because it is the reaching out, and that's what I'm really trying. It's like I'm not getting this, but I'm saying they were laughing at me, like saying this is old. I said, but listen, did you know that you need? I know the values and economic person is coming on, but I threw out there and I says the struggle that we're having every day with what we eat, what we do, and whatever, has to do with that we don't connect with each other. Did you
Yeah.
know if we did and we
Yep.
reconnected with each other in a meaningful way, that we would struggle for less? Even though you think today that you don't have it, it is that we do not stretch our arms out and reach to the next person and give what you think you can give. So if everybody in a circle, I did an exercise, and you put what you could give and somebody put what they needed in the middle of the circle, nobody would ever come up without having, you see. And
Preach.
so so that was one of the things. But I do want to say that what we're speaking about also influences the values and whatever, and the cultural, the violence. They're doing interventions in the school. The Journal of School Psychology had a while back a thing in there that we're not teaching our children or helping them understand the importance of where they come from and how it influences decision making and the way they think about money and the way they think about giving and caring about other people. Because now they are more acculturated, and all they're looking at before they even cut a little old lady's yard, they want to know how much she has, you
Yeah.
see, as opposed to looking at how many other ways of getting the funds, but also that we're going to donate and give a yard each month. We're
And to
going
your
to donate, you see.
and
Hmm.
to your point about our need for connection,
Yes.
um, I contend, and I also mentioned this in the sermon, that we do not fully realize just how much the pandemic has impacted us negatively. On one hand, I believe there is this tsunami of grief that is inside of us that is going to come out at some point, because imagine all those people who lost loved ones
Yes.
over this past 2.5 years and weren't able to grieve. I mean, some people saw their loved one go into the hospital, and that was literally the last time they saw them
And
alive.
couldn't visit them, and couldn't
Couldn't
visit them.
I can't. I mean, so that's one level, but the other level is, for about 2.5 years, we were in the house. We couldn't go to the job. We couldn't go to school. We could barely go to the store. I don't, even though this society is so individualistic and pushes back at the notion of community and connection, I don't think we realize just how much that isolation damaged us. I
Yes.
when I hear about, all these insane shootings of shooting up, mass shootings at malls and at little league baseball games, and this rise in crazy violence on airplanes and the exponential growth of road rage. I'm thinking these are the way we just like your grandson, folk don't know how to
Mhm.
deal with all this madness, all this anger, all this grief that is
Mhm.
inside of us. And so it is coming out. It's coming out and exploding in these really
Now
dangerous,
you can
violent
imagine
ways.
if you have a diagnosis,
Oh,
if
Lord
you
have
have
mercy.
a IDD, intellectual disability, if you
Mhm.
had ADD, if you have some other things, post traumatic stress already, you could imagine that with that how it's going to affect everyday living. But I don't want to keep our other bring on the other component of what we're looking at, how our values affect. But we seriously need to come up with 4 or 5 solutions before we points of intervention before we finish, and how they relate to your course and everything. And the course that Brother Salim Rashid is also going to do a course. He's going to, and we're going to talk about that. So if we could bring on Brother Rashid.
Hey, can you see me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
I can. Yes, I
Oh,
can.
I can listen
I
to
can't
Dr.
see
Walker all day long. Dr.
you.
Walker.
I can't. I know. I
Hey,
told you. I told you you were gonna find your other brother, and
hey,
that's right. So,
go on with that sermon, man.
but
Shoot,
we can't
boy.
see you. We can't see you.
Really? I don't know
No.
why. I mean, I got my, let me see, stop. Where we at? Maybe I came on the wrong way. I don't know.
Maybe I think you did. You probably have to go at the top where it says, "This is your link."
Oh, okay.
Audio is coming through loud and clear, though.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's not worry about what I look like right now. Let's just talk a little. 'Cause, man, you guys talk about some things. I mean, I thought I was in one of my classes.
Did you? I know. I know.
Oh my God, and the brother really, I just have to start off with what he spoke about this social distancing piece and not being able to experience what we are. We're social creatures by nature.
Right.
So to take our socialization away from us really had a tremendous impact on our thinking process. And one of the things that I always try to share with people, we don't even realize that what the mask did to us psychology wise, covering up our faces, not being able to breathe and exercise, the one key element of that exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, that had a tremendous effect on our thinking process. Not taking in a proper amount of oxygen on a daily basis and not, putting out that carbon dioxide, which we were inhaling back into our bodies. Well, that's poison. That's
Yes.
truly poison. So not having that balance has really created an imbalance in our thinking process. So when you start talking about anxiety and fear and stress and anger and the overload of misinformation and disinformation, that truly had a tremendous effect on our ability to manage ourselves. And that's one of the most important things I talk about. Know thyself. Well, I take the F off, say know thyself. We are made
Uh-huh.
up of over 100 trillion cells. Everything about us is a cell. When your cells are unable to function properly, it could do only one or two things. It could be discombobulate, disintegrate, or put you in a situation where your body cannot function in the way that it's functioning. So all you have to do is get stressed out. Your anger automatically takes over. The fact that your endorphins are not being released from your brain, probably because we got all these things going on at one time. And I'm with you, doctor, on the TV. Get away from that television set.
That's right.
You're gonna have to spend some time with yourself, and more importantly, spend some time with your Lord. I'm telling you, man, this whole re-engineering that we have to go through, and that's basically what we're going to have to go through to save our community, is to re-engineer how we think and how we used to be, and come up with a game plan. Dr. Lewis, you said it very specifically. We have to identify, number one, not what's wrong with us, what happened to us.
What
That's
happened?
that's the key element. What happened to us in our environment? Well, our environment has been compromised completely and totally. When you start talking about stress levels and anxiety and worry and misinformation and disinformation, my God, what can the person do? You can't even function correctly, and we mess with our body chemistry has been completely altered. And so this thing called pandemic, I mean, we were already in a pandemic before the pandemic came. And then what I mean by
Mhm.
that is that no one has ever helped us from this historical aspects of slavery. We have never corrected our disposition. We have never corrected our character. We have never corrected our ability to function. We have never corrected anger, conflict resolution. We don't even know what these things are. So this emotional psychotherapy that has to take place is serious. But most people can't fathom. They don't have the patience to sit and listen to someone who makes sense because our common sense has been compromised. Used to be all those saying go, common sense ain't common no more. Oh my God. It is not common anymore because we have been affected and infected by information going into our bodies, into our minds, so our disposition, where our whole character disposition has been changed because of what we call internal dysfunctionality. So the root-based therapy that has to take place is a time-consuming process that we're going to have to do. The trauma that we're experiencing in our lives right now, we can't even imagine what the word trauma means. You know, we don't even take that word seriously anymore. It's just a statement that we make. Well, what is trauma? You know, well, first of all, physically, you have been traumatized. Mentally, you have been traumatized. Emotionally, we have been traumatized. And health-wise, you talked about food. Oh, my God. The sugar poison, the chemical poison. When these people tell us that they have genetically altered the seeds that grow our food, and we take this food in from the soil that's already been contaminated, and our animals eat this food from the ground, which is not really food, then we eat the animal. We're eating the same poison that the animals ate. You know, this stuff is taking over our body chemistry. So if we don't know how to manage what we eat and how we eat and what we're taking into our system, it's going to have a direct reflect on our whole disposition and attitude. So it's like, where do you start?
So, Brother Rashid, I want to say this. So we're struggling. We get participation. You know, we followed your recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the Saturday Wellness Program,
Right.
and which we
I'm
reach
sorry, I
out
missed
to.
it. I'm sorry.
That's all right. You'll
I had
get a
another
link.
engagement. I got you mixed up with another engagement. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. We took your suggestion, and we do have, so every session we'll have cultural information.
Yes.
And now we're linking with the churches. So we'll have cultural information. We have herbs and food for healing, and we have and then we have Doctor Speaks. So we're bringing in invitation of community physicians that get to know the people.
Right.
Okay, then on the end we have intergenerational families on the fourth Saturday.
Right.
And then we have Speak Out Arts for Healing on the fifth Saturdays.
Okay.
So
Now
every Saturday.
what you're gonna have to do is send me that link again and also the subject matter so I can participate with you because
I will,
truly,
and all of the people that we have on will be doing classes and webinars.
very good.
And so we're trying to make everything sustain. And
right.
so for very minimum, we just want everybody to be able to participate and hear.
Yeah.
So we're offering these things truly at zero or no cost. But the thing is that people will get
Yes.
studied.
Yes.
Our teachers need to be studied. Our pastors are our family parents educated. And so these webinars will be helping lead peers and students in the school and parents and whatever through webinars and through the weekends. But we're encouraging everybody to attend so they'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What we're talking about today.
But we're going to have to really understand truly that, when you talk about what's wrong with our children, when we realize that we as parents are creating criminals in our own homes by not providing them with the right resources, the right food content, and things of that nature. It's hard to say that if your brain is not functioning properly, how do you deal with stress? How do you deal with all those particular things? Your brain has so many components to it. We have to get back to understanding that word called know thyself. And I have to emphasize this. None of us are well. We never got treatment. Now, I always say know thyself. Now, here's the language problem. Take the F off. It says know thyself. Well, when we know our body chemistry is made up of nothing but 100 trillion cells, and our biggest cell on our body is our skin cell. We don't realize that the electricity that our skin requires, that we have to produce these things internally. So until we can address the self, the cell, it's hard to address anything else about us. So when your brain is not getting the nutrients that it needs from the food that we take in, if your
Right.
brain is not getting the nutrients that we need from the good knowledge and the good information that we have to take in,
Mhm.
then you have this convoluted thought process, and it creates anger, it creates stress, it creates anxiety. Not to know, that word called ignorance means to ignore.
To
So when you
not
ignore
know.
yourself, and I always have to this one. I know my grandfather who's a preacher. He said, the thing that concerned me, poverty is the greatest sin ever imposed on man. Now, when we hear the
Mhm.
word poverty, we always think about finance.
Hmm.
It's impoverished thinking. It's impoverished eating. It's
Mhm.
Hmm.
impoverished psychological information. That poverty thing, that symbol, what it stands for, that metaphor, we have to really delve into ourselves and understand that unless you know, we walk around 24/7 with this body and don't have a clue how it functions.
And
Oh, this is
if
scary.
you, what the
This is
man
scary.
says, if you can infuse right there and let the audience know that even the chromatin in the cell
Uh-huh.
speaks to the other cell when you think a thought. See, if they have no idea that they are making themselves every day with what they believe.
Yeah, that's right.
You see, and
You
what
know,
you think and what you believe becomes you through your cells,
I'm
and
trying
you are
to
in
tell you.
control of the growth of the cell because you were given that power.
I'm
And
telling
and the fact that if you look at your skin today, the skin that you have today, you didn't have a couple months ago, you
that's
didn't have
absolutely
years ago, because
That's
it's
right.
always being
Mhm.
remade. And
always.
so
Remade.
that to me is a sign that God is always creating, and we
Yes,
always have an opportunity to be resurrected anew.
absolutely.
We don't have to stay in this messed up situation that we're in right now.
Absolutely. It's called re-engineering. We have to
Yes.
re-engineer ourselves because
Mhm.
our body is constantly, as he said, recreating, redoing something in us that has a direct reflection on our ability to function. It's so difficult to tell a person that you don't know, and they don't want to accept the fact that they don't know. But guess what? They don't even know that they don't know.
Yeah.
And that's scary. You don't even know. I'm talking to you, having a conversation with you. You looking at me like, duh. But they don't even understand what you're saying. They can't even process the information because of the overwhelming disposition that our bodies are in, because we never were able to put ourselves together. What they were saying, Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. All the king horses and all the king men couldn't put the Humpty together again. That's what we're talking about here. We have fell off the wall, and we have
Mhm.
cracked our ability to function and think. And only way we're going to get back to that is obedience to this thing that God gave us. He gave us the most magnificent tool called the human body. The intellect that he gave us has been tampered with. And I go back to this
Mhm.
one statement in 1832 in Congress, where Senator Henry Bibby said this one thing about the slave. He said, "We have almost eliminated any possibility that knowledge can enter the slave's mind. If we
I
can
yeah.
exhaust this one
Yes.
piece, we will be safe, and they will be like beasts of the field." That has stuck with me for 40 years. I'm telling you, who does something like that? Who has the intention of making sure I can't function as a human being? I'm gonna act like the beast of the field. When you look at our children, we look at our country, everybody's acting like animals. There's
Yes.
no intelligent thinking taking place. You're gonna look at me and tell me something, and you lying right in my face, and nobody's supposed to know it. And we don't have the ability to process. This is a bald-faced lie. And
But
we
but
have
but
been
but but Brother Rashid, you have begin to say that there's a different value that is being reinforced, that's
absolutely
being
based on your body.
prioritized. It
That,
is telling you don't let anybody know you sweat.
that's it.
Don't tell the truth.
Yes.
Truth is not valued.
Yeah.
Kill the person who tells the truth.
and
Yeah.
not and not only that, but their whole game plan is to keep us from knowing ourselves.
Of
Absolutely.
who
um
you are and what you can do.
man
Absolutely.
man woman, know thyself. That is literally the
Woo.
first religious principle.
Yes.
It darn near all the major religious faiths on the planet, which all trace themselves back to ancient Egypt,
Absolutely.
ancient Africa, that was the starting point. You've got to
Absolutely.
know who you are. I'm
Absolutely.
really enjoying hearing Dr. Rashid.
I
Hey,
told you you were going.
man.
That's your brother.
Okay.
I told you.
We have to use that thing called the Evader principle, which is that
Yeah.
psychological tool that my auntie, who was a psychologist, she said, we use this against you guys. It's called Evader. We look at your environment, we how you function in your environment. We look at what we've done to your environment, which will determine your environment will determine what your values are.
Yes.
Once we know what your values are, I can already know how to maneuver and manipulate you, because I know your educational level and your information level is decrepit, because I created the environment and I created your value. Now I got a disposition and an attitude that I can control all day long, because I know you better than you know yourself.
That's right.
So now I can focus in on what I want you to do, how I want you to act. And if I tell you something, you're going to believe, because you have no tools or resources to even deal with what I'm telling you, because you haven't developed yourself. That genetically altered disposition that we have, isn't it strange that the word genetics, you got the word gene sitting right there in it? They have affected our genes. They have affected our DNA. They have affected our RNA, which is 3 parts of it. And so our brain and our 3 nervous systems are not functioning properly. So it's all about knowing this thing that God gave us, this beautiful brain. Everything in the world came from somebody's brain. So if your brain is dysfunctional, guess what? I control everything you do, when you do it, and how you do it. So that re-engineering we have to take advantage of, and we have to recognize when we're talking to people, we got to meet them where they are. Everybody don't have the same thinking process, because everybody has a different environment. Everybody has different values. So my interpretation is based on my environment.
Didn't we just start off with that, Doc Walker? We started off with the situation where the person was interpreting what needs to happen or what should happen or ought to happen based on the way that they saw it only.
Oh man, perception is everything. That root-based therapy is what we have to focus in on. And we call root-based therapy. So the intake, when you're talking to people, you got to know who's in the room before you have a conversation. That's why I always start off with, everybody tell me a little something about yourself and why you're here. That way I know who I'm talking to, because you get up there and start talking, it'll go over everybody's head. You may get one in the group who know what you're talking about, but the rest of them, what is he talking about? I don't even understand this, So it's this readiness concept. Uh-oh, I lost you guys again. What happened here?
While you're looking for that, can I ask Dr. Lewis a question real quick?
Go ahead. I just lost
Dr. Lewis, you said that there's going to be some classes available.
Yes.
When are those classes, and how do people access them?
Yes. Let me just say this. The classes are going to be they're going to be hybrid. Some of the classes are going to be in the community, but most of them are going to be online.
Okay.
And there'll be webinar classes, and people can sign up for those classes. They will begin. We will have I am classes that will begin to look at cultural history, background, which will include an understanding of where you came from, history, particular books you can read, and we will learn how to write about ourselves, find out about our parents while we're doing that. Dr. Walker, you will be leading one of those classes. And we'll also have a young adult class by Dr. Frank will be doing the young adult history.
Right.
And then we'll all come together. Brother Rashid is going to be doing the class on the combination of history, who I am, as it relates to the cell, the body, the health, change in health, and also looking at some other things around finances.
Sign me up for Dr. Rashid's class. I just
need
to know. Be in everybody's class.
Is there a date? When are these classes starting?
That's right. And the classes are starting this summer. We will announce it. We got our website. Brother Bernard did a wonderful job. Our website just got finished this past week, updated rather.
Okay.
And all of the announcements on the class will be going in this month. June, we're hoping school will be out. As soon as school out, we're inviting teachers to take it. They will be able to get continuing education training.
Absolutely.
We'll give them credits.
It's so important. It's so important that you talked about teachers.
That's right.
I work in the school systems, and one of the problems I have with teachers, and I really feel sorry for them, because you walk in a classroom, you got 25 children in the classroom, each one of them have a different concept, a different lifestyle, a different program. How in the world can you blame a teacher for me sending my child to your classroom who hadn't eaten any food? I got a crack mother. I got a daddy who in jail. I was up all night listening to my mama fuss and argue with somebody. And they're going to come in the classroom. You're going to tell me I got an ADHD problem. Oh no, I don't have ADD. You never asked me what's wrong with me. What happened to me? You just, oh, something wrong. Nothing wrong with that child. We never asked the question, what happened, baby? What's going on in your life? When we start delving into our children's personal life, you'll find a whole plethora of misinformation and disinformation. That child has to sit there and listen to you. He can't even perceive what you're talking about. You gave me a honey bun and some sugar smacks this morning. I got all this sugar in me, and I can't sit still. And I can't tell you why I can't sit still, but you're gonna send me to the principal's office. I'm full of poison, full of sugar. My disposition, my body, my mind is not there. My body is here, but my mind is not there. So we diagnose these people with different types of disorders.
Brother Rashid,
yes, ma'am.
Add into that that the curriculum is designed so that you can't even stand up.
Come on now.
The whole you can't if you anxious or nervous or whatever it is. Yes. There's no activity.
You got dental problems. I got eyesight problems. I got a sinus problem. I'm trying to sit in the classroom and listen to what? You want my child to learn what?
I can't even chew any gum. Gum helps me, but I can't chew the gum.
So it's not funny, but you have to laugh and keep from crying.
Yeah, you do.
The job of a teacher is so important, and when you come in and begin to try to teach them, I call it holistic, comprehensive life skills. And you just can't say life skill, but it's holistic, it's comprehensive, and it's detailed that you have to address what's wrong with our community. Our community is not unified. We took the U.S. out of trust. We don't even trust each other. So we got all kind of issues, psychological services that need to be presented. That's why I love the Women's Resource Center, because you address those women. Women are responsible for males and females. Men don't have that. They don't have that disposition. We don't have the ability to raise children. I'm a single dad, so I know you're doing a good job. I said, no, I'm not. There's no woman in my life. So if I'm raising children without a woman, I already have an imbalance, because it's just a balance that we have to have. That I call it the perfect triangle. At the bottom is spirituality. On the sides is mental and physical. Those perfect triangles have to be in balance and have a human being function right. And so our teachers have to be almost psychologists. They really have to know the psychological aspects of how these children body works, how they work. Because they come to school teaching and they just got their car repossessed. Their house got foreclosed on. Their husband left them. You arguing with your husband before you got to school, but you're a teacher coming to school to teach me what? You already got problems. So,
and on top of that, they have to design curriculums for specific children. They have to keep up with all the grades for all the children. They have to call all the. I mean, oh my goodness!
Our lives are so traumatically affected.
So Brother Rashid.
Yes, ma'am.
So you say, well, what are we going to do? So we have a mental health coaching program that brings all this together.
Yes, I do.
And so if you could imagine that people in the school, their support system, bring together their strengths, the parents would learn how to do that, and they would have a lead peer group to do that. People in the community and the churches would come together.
Yes.
I would do that and take the coaching class while we have it. Yes. We got a $2,200 scholarship per person.
Wow.
And all we have to do is to get the people to pay $150.
I got you. Well, I did.
Get church trained and whatever. I mean, who would not do that? Do you realize that we cannot? This is a class. This is our fourth class. We're struggling now to get a good class tonight.
Okay.
And you can't believe it. With all of the crime that's going on, no matter how much you distribute, you can't get people to understand that if their congregation as Sunday school class, the people take a representative for civic association, block captains, we would stop the problem.
Yep.
And so the answers are here, and we're systematically trying to reach out. And we do have a pastors coalition that we're asking everybody to get pastors to come together on the third Wednesday of the month with us.
Right.
So I'm gonna let you all add to this in a minute.
Okay.
So we have outreach, healing, cooking classes, and whatever online, and we're having them in the churches by scheduling.
Right.
By them doing that, and there's a way to work it so it's not financially uncomfortable for everybody.
Well,
This is for the community
it's
coming together to
comprehensive.
link arms.
It has to
We
be a
got
comprehensive. It has to be
Ask
a
the
comprehensive.
doctor. All we want is community doctors. We're sending letters out to them. Come online and help heal the community. Let them know what you do in the community.
Yeah.
You see, and so we're asking everybody out here and the people that we work with to help do that.
Yes.
And we're doing it on Facebook. We're doing it all online.
You have to keep
And
doing
we're
it.
also going out to the communities to do that.
Yes, you know,
And so
that
now
goes,
we want to add at the end, we want to begin to discuss other things that maybe the resource center need to do in a different way,
right.
and also that we can do and put the question out there to them, and let's make some suggestions.
Yeah, you're building community life. That's what you're talking about, you know, and those leadership and character development tools are key. You know, we just have to accept this one fact. We don't know. I don't care whether you're a minister, I don't care whether you're a PhD. We have to accept this one thing that none of us are well. You know, if we could just accept that one thing, we can disseminate this information to the point where people will want to live. And you're right about neighborhood associations, the churches. That's where it started years ago. We used to teach. In the church houses, man, we used to teach people how to read. You know, so the spiritual part will come. You know, once you tell me who I am and what I am, I'll be interested in the spiritual aspects of things. But here I am. I'm hungry. I ain't had a job in 2 years. You're going to tell me to believe in Jesus or come to church. Man, I want some food. I need a job, you know. I appreciate what you're saying to me, but I can't believe in something that I can't see. And I can't be anything that I don't know about. So, you know, word being it is, you know, human being. You have to be that human person, but that human person has been dissected and disassembled, you know, with those zickle bones. We got to bring them bones together. You know, we gotta put them back. You know, we have the skeleton, but what's on the bones? Yes. What about the glands? What about the nerves? What about the tissues? What about the muscle? That makes that person have form, but not need functionality now. We got the form. Now, where's the functionality? And that's what you're talking about, Dr. Lord.
Right.
The functionality of making this human being get up and do what he's supposed to do with intelligence. You know, go ahead.
Here's the thing, what you're saying. What I find out is if everybody's consistent, I ask young people, I'm getting ready to try to get a forum so young people can speak out. But the thing is that they tell me people don't really care about other people, Dr. Lewis. They don't do that anymore. That's one issue. Another one is that parents say one thing, teachers say one thing, and then they do another thing.
Yes.
So there's no consistency about whatever we're doing. And so I say, well, you know what? Maybe we need to emphasize mentoring, which we did. We do mentoring for we need to get people who model, and we're getting ready to do the videos of what it is that we need to do under certain circumstances. You know, but what we do is when we do this, where I don't know how to approach the community, because fast as we do something, they, instead of joining, they take the information
and do it themselves
and try to do it themselves. But as soon as they do that, they have destroyed it. They have destroyed the ability to succeed.
Distort. That's what they've done.
They have, in other words, so your picture is there, but what you did for the community is you just destroyed the whole idea of linking arms.
That's it.
And bringing your strength on. So you replicate it. It's the same thing. Now, it's a dead duck in the water.
Hey,
all you can do is bring your crop to the basket.
There you go.
We'll have more to distribute. Everybody bring the crop that they have, and then everybody will have something to distribute.
Yeah. All you can do, Dr. Lewis, all you can do is do what I do with my technology program, STEM, that I did in California. You get a small band and you replicate that model. That's all you can do. You got to do a modeling first. You got to do just one group that you model. And then once it's successful, then you take that model and you implant it someplace else. It's like anything else in life. You know, you have to understand the inner workings and the condition of our people. We are devastated. Parents are asking them kids to do something. Kids don't do what you say; they do what they see.
What they see, you do.
You know, so if you tell them don't smoke a cigarette and you smoking, you tell them don't drink alcohol. You got a glass of Chevy Rico in your hand. You tell them, you want them to do what? They're gonna do what they see, not what you tell them. You know,
Right.
so that's what we call a mindset that we have to understand, that we have to develop, and that can only be done with modeling. And
Yes.
so
That's
you
why I
start with
said
a
that.
small band and just focus
Mhm.
in on a group of young people, improve success. Start with a group of parents, improve success. Start
That's
with a
right.
group of churches, improve success. Once that model
Yes.
is replicated, people begin to say, "Oh, I see what they're doing." They ain't saying nothing now, but when they see what you're doing, they say a picture is worth what? 1,000 words.
Right. That's
So
right.
they have to see it. They just have to see it. That's that significant emotional event. The word SEE stands for a significant emotional event must take place in order for change to ever happen.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
don't do it, it's not going to happen. You can talk all you want. They have to see it. They have to
They
have
have to see it.
experiences. All
Yes.
our children are and all we are is a culmination of our life experiences. So if we have some deficits in our life experiences, we need to plug in those holes. And that's what
Well,
you're talking
I
about doing.
think that's what we're talking about.
That's
So
what you're talking about. Yes.
I want to say thank you. I'm going to ask each one of you to give me one thing that when we end, you want the audience to remember.
Well, I just want to
Lord,
say this.
oh,
We
go
just
ahead.
have we just have to learn how to build our own personal life plan. Yeah, and
Yes.
that's deep. It's everything that
Mhm.
we said culminated
Mhm.
into a package that I can grow and
Right.
develop from. And so that's
Mhm.
what I just want to leave the audience with. Personal, take care of your personal self. That's physical, that's mental, emotionally, and more importantly, your foundation for all this have to be spiritual. If we don't obey, guess what's going to happen? It's only two things that can happen. You either do the right thing or do the wrong thing. There ain't no in between now. So that's our problem. We always looking for that in between stuff. It's either you do or you don't. It's yes or it's no. Obey or be disobedient. So that's one of the things we have to concern ourselves with, is obeying what God has given us. We have the tools and the resources, and let's just let the lifeblood flow to our brain. I think we'll be what we're supposed to be, and not
Yes.
do what somebody else say.
And I'll
Doc
just add,
Walker.
I would just add,
Mhm.
we invest in anything and everyone else. Let us invest in knowing ourselves, because if we know who we are,
Come on.
all those other things will
Mhm.
come. The
Absolutely.
importance of community, the importance of modeling, as Dr. Rashid said, all that is in knowing who we are.
There you
Invest in
go.
that.
That's right. All right.
So I
Invest.
just want you to know, I want the audience to know that we're meeting, we're getting ready to bring our team together. I think at the end of this month, on the last Monday in this month, please, I have to think of the date. And it's going to be the last Monday in this month at 6 p.m. We'll be bringing together our first group of team, which Brother Rashid, and Doc Walker, and schools and churches will be there. And we will look at how to team and how to build that group. And each time we'll bring a group and connect the group with each other.
And let me say this one thing before you get off. You are doing a lot of things. I want you to take care of yourself, okay, and stay
Oh,
focused.
I am. I'm
I,
step.
I,
You see, I got these young ladies. I'm stepping back, and
and what they say, you say team together, everyone can benefit. We can accomplish
that's
more.
right.
So just go. You make
Hmm.
sure you delegate. Okay, don't put all
Hmm.
this pressure on yourself. We're gonna have you sitting around telling, I need some help.
Oh yeah, I can always benefit.
All
See,
right,
one thing is I keep me a therapist.
all right,
I pray often.
all right.
You know what I'm saying? I
Yes,
relax. I go fishing.
and
Uh,
meditate. I know
I
you
do. You know
meditate.
what I'm saying? You know,
I
so
know you
I'm doing
meditate.
that, and I'm stepping back as I get older
All
about the amount of time. But I'm trying to keep steady what
right.
is so important and what God has asked me to do to
Okay.
make meaning of my life. So
Yeah.
that's real important
I love
to
your
me.
ideas, darling. I love your ideas, and the word idea means instruction, demonstration, and education, and also assessment. So your ideas are
Right.
always great. Every time I talk to you, I'm always looking at the word idea. She give great instruction. Now help us demonstrate. Now guess what? Let these experiences put us in a situation where we can access where we are, where we need to go. Okay.
That's right.
All
That's
right.
right.
All
Okay
right.
then.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. I want to thank both of you for being on today. And I want to thank our audience for being here. I want to announce to go to the website, WRC, as you see scrolling,
Mm-hmm.
wrc-houston.com. Express your interest, register. You'll see Doc Walker on there. Brother Rashid will be on there this week, I think it is. It's going out into the thing. We're setting the classes up. and we want you to start registering.
Okay.
Register.
Now, where are your classes on? That Dr. Guyton just enrolled in. What days are they going on?
That's right, tonight. Oh, yes, the mental health coaching program
Right.
will start tonight at 7 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Please sign on, please.
Well, I have that Science of Health
I
and You
know.
course on Tuesdays from 6 o'clock into 8 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Yes.
I got. Can we get the copy of the tape?
Well, some of those tapes can't be sent out
Okay.
because they don't belong to us. They
Oh, I
have to
got
be
you.
right there. And
Oh,
then
man.
when the person sign on, I'll tell you how to get registered to make it work. I'll tell you
Okay.
how to do that.
Okay.
But you need to, the people who are interested can go on and register. If you can't afford the 150, if you can pay 50 something and then do a payment plan, we
Right.
want people in our community to do it.
All right.
And so they can call 281-381-2276. They can go to the email, and it's ips.health1@gmail.com. I like India, P like Paul, S like Sam, .health, HEALTH, the number 1 @gmail.com.
Okay.
Express your interest and we'll help you make it happen.
Very
We
good.
want to get everybody trained. Now, you don't have to be in Houston, because they're asking us, because they liked our model. They came and looked at it. They're asking us, and I got to get with, I'll get his name, and with him, they want us to do one in Arkansas, Louisiana. We already have one started in Las Vegas and New York, and they're looking at different places around the coastline.
Okay. Very good.
California, and so they're asking us to do that for many different reasons.
I definitely want to get with you on that because I can see a great benefit in that training.
And we're gonna have it fit right in. That's right. And so the training, it would be a whole body wellness training. So they got to have history in it. They have to have the understanding of the cell, the medical history, the whole thing.
Right.
And because this change will not occur with just a part. And I think Dr. Walker said that.
Yeah.
We all are more than just each part.
Let me just say this one thing. There's no such thing as a problem when you have the answer. Okay.
That's right. That's right. We do.
All right.
I want to thank everybody for being here. Please remember this: renew beliefs, rebuild faith, and reconnect with families and communities.
All right.
For it's not the circumstances we meet, it is the manner in which we respond that determines health, happiness, and success. So I'll see you same time, same place, same station next week.
All right.
Don't forget to tune in Cultural Vision TV. Download the app, Cultural Vision TV. See the show at 7 p.m. in the evening. Women's Resource Center is on 7 p.m. in the evening, Cultural Vision TV.
Got it.
Thank you.
All right, dear. Thank you so much, Dr. Walker. It was a pleasure. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Definitely. Oh, you will.
Okay.
All right, y'all.